Dave Ramsey here. I'm with Matt Clarke, the COO of Churchill Mortgage. Ramsey and Churchill have had a 25-year relationship helping you folks get a mortgage, get a home, and do it in a wise way so that you own the home, it doesn't own you. And it's crazy out there. This market has gone freaking bananas. And so the stories of people, the mistakes they're making, it's not amateur hour. It's nutty. And so I wanted to get with Matt and kind of talk through. And one of the things, Matt, that's really bothering us around Ramsey, because we feel we have a heart for them, these first-time home buyers. It's a really particularly tough market if you're brand new at the game.
If you're a homeowner, you're enjoying the spoils of the rising prices and home values right now. But if you're a first-time home buyer, you're trying to enter into a market at a time where home prices have never been higher. The competition to buy a house is incredible, with multiple offers on just about every house for sale. And now we're seeing rates climb to levels that we haven't seen in the last decade. Historically, still very good, but when you look at it over the course of the last several years, it seems to be going up. And then you couple that with the rising prices and rents, and it's a really difficult question to answer if you're entering into the home ownership, which is, how do you do it right?
Yeah, the first-time home buyer, the biggest thing we see is they can almost get into panic mode right now with FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, I'm going to get priced out of the market with the interest rates and the rising costs, and oh my gosh, and when you start feeling that inside your head, you're getting ready to make a really stupid mistake. So slow down. Calm down. Facts are your friends. Yes, it's a difficult market, but there is definitely a way for a first-time home buyer to enter the market.
There is, and it all starts with having a good plan, right? We don't want first-time home buyers to jump into the market and blow their budget. But we also don't want them to sit around and think that they can't afford to get into the market if they've saved enough money and they have a good plan. So one of the things we like to do with all of the families that come to us to buy a home is do that rent versus own analysis so that we can show them the difference in their ability to build wealth and equity by paying rent and paying a mortgage that they can afford.
Yeah.
And that oftentimes gives them some confidence to go out and shop.
Well, it gives you yet one more reason to do this, because 100% of the rent versus buy analysis comes out in favor of buying.
It does.
And we know that from our world with, the largest study of millionaires that we ever did at Ramsey. One of the key components is a paid-for home. And as you enter into retirement, one of the key components for stability is to get a home, own it, and pay for it. Because if you sit here for 10 years and rent, 100% of the time, your rent's going to go up almost every year, if not more. And if you sit here for 10 years and you own, and you've locked in your payment, you have a set payment in your budget, which is one of the largest things in your budget, and that home's going up in value while you're owning it. So it's a slam dunk mathematically to be an owner, unless you do it wrong.
Unless you do it wrong. Paying rent, you're building equity. You're just building it for somebody else.
Well, that's true.
And so, Dave, one of the fears that we have is that people find that they have to be in a particular market, and they try to stretch their budget into places that they really can't afford. And we don't want them to, jump into a mortgage they regret. What do you say to people about, well, I got to live in this particular place?
You don't. It's that simple. And so you're going to make a mistake if you box yourself in on that. That's fatalistic thinking, and it destroys your critical thinking skills. And so I'm sorry if the picture isn't just like your little fantasy picked it out when you got married and you had 2.5 kids and a white picket fence and everything was perfect, and you lived in Waldo land or something. And but it's not going to work out that way. In this market, with these prices being what they are, most first-time home buyers are going to buy something they're not 100% comfortable with. You're going to buy something, but it's not your forever home. As a matter of fact, there are no forever homes except heaven. That's the only one. You're always going to change. It's my dream home. No, it's not. It's a nightmare if you buy it wrong. So don't do this. And so you've grown up in a house, your mom and dad's house, that you can't afford to live in. Unless you're a very unusual first-time home buyer. And so you have this standard of living as your mindset. You call that normal, you call that baseline emotionally, and you got to step down from that. Oh my, it does hurt. I'm kind of poking fun, but it is the real world. And sometimes you buy a nice little condo or a tiny little, not a tiny house, but a small home that's, well, I don't know. And yes, you do. Buy it, get started, get your foot in the door, no whining, and move a little bit further out of town maybe. Maybe it's not the HOA you wanted to be in. It's not got all the little the zip code that you wanted. Oh, give me a break. Seriously, unless you are an unusual first-time home buyer, you're probably going to buy a home that is considerably less than the home you moved out of, called mom and dad.
So the key to building wealth through home ownership is to start, and to start right. And one of the things we do with the folks that come to us to start them off right is we have a Home Buyer's Edge program, which allows us to go through again and do a full underwrite on them before they go out and shop, so that they're shopping with more confidence about what they can afford because they've been approved, and we're presenting offers that are stronger than others that might just have a pre-approval. We also lock in their rate for 90 days with a float down option, so that if rates go down, they get to take advantage of that lower rate, and if rates go up, they're protected.
Yeah. So Matt, about 3.5 years ago, my wife decided we were going to learn to play golf, and I'm awful. I suck at it. It's bad, but I have figured out the secret to golf. Secret to happiness is lowered expectations. So for first-time home buyers, the secret to happiness is lowered expectations. It's kind of like golf.
You know, I like to play golf too, and I enjoyed it once I decided I wasn't any good.
So we're joking around with you guys a little bit, but seriously, some people get all geared up and they feel like they've set a standard for themselves, or they did set a standard for themselves. It was based on emotions, not math, and you just can't do that. You'll set yourself back a decade by strapping yourself into a mortgage that you can't carry, and you'll be going along the path and you keep falling over. It doesn't mean you can't buy, but it probably means you can't buy in the neighborhood your mom and dad live in, and it probably means that you can't buy in the dream little area that you had fantasy world that you were doing. You maybe can, and if you can, I'm not mad at you for doing that. You don't have to buy down, but it's okay to start in a place that's safe but not fancy.
Yep.